A new movie already getting Oscar buzz is tackling a tough topic. Let's take a look at Exhibiting Forgiveness.
I ain't seen you for 15 years, but now you want to be somebody's granddaddy? You somebody's daddy?
Right,
Now?
I don't want him to hear this. Listen, I need you to speak to him. I need you to talk to him.
No, he has changed.
He ain't changed.
It's just gonna follow us home if you don't deal with it here.
Exhibiting Forgiveness is the new film from standout actor Andre Holland, the multi-talented Audra Day, Oscar-nominated actress Anjanae Ellis-Taylor, celebrated stage and screen actor James Earl Jelks, and newcomer Ian Foreman. The story is about a family tackling a generational crisis. It's the first film from contemporary painter Titus Kaphar, who says he got a lot from experiencing this film from behind the camera.
I felt very blessed by that experience this time in particular. By doing it this time through the medium of film, I think I've realized that there is a way to tell a story that goes so far beyond the original experience to be able to touch people who come from all kinds of different backgrounds. That has been the lesson for me in this, in the experience of showing this film in the world.
Each of the performances called on the actors to bring parts of themselves to the screen, including award-winning singer Andra Day, who showcased her beautiful voice.
I think music is healing, not just because it's healing, because I think it was actually designed that way. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's always a really powerful thing for me. You know, this, again, the choice for her to be a musician was Titus's choice. That was something that was very important to him. I love to be able to portray that through film. It was a different experience for me.
If you know someone like these people that we portrayed, you want to bring that truth to these characters.
It's all in service of being honest and truthful about the character and about the relationship, in hopes that you reach that magic place between actors that like transcends, you know, where things like jump out of the screen, grab somebody's heart who's sitting in the audience and make them go, oh man, that's my story too.
The emotional film brings audiences along the difficult path toward forgiveness with empathy for themselves and others as the ultimate goal.
Most of the time when we think about forgiveness, what we talk about is this idea of forgiving and forgetting. And what that does is that forces victims to re-enter a space of pain and vulnerability that is unsafe for them. I don't believe in that. I don't think that that's the right thing to do. I watch too many folks in my family forgive people and then go back into the same situation and find themselves hurt again. The kind of forgiveness that we're talking about is a forgiveness that allows you to say, you know what, you don't owe me nothing anymore. You don't have that debt and I'm not carrying this burden. But I forgive you, I'm going that direction and you might be going that direction, and that's okay.
But it is a letting go. It is a relinquishing of this burden for yourself first and then for the other person. And the other thing that I realized through this movie is that forgiveness is a very hard fought battle, right? I think I knew that, but what I didn't realize was that forgiveness is kind of like love, right? If you're married or if you have a spouse, you have to choose to love that person every day. You know what I mean? Not just in your feelings, but in the way you interact with them, because you're not feeling like it all the time. A similar thing with forgiveness. You might feel like forgiving one day, and then the next day you're just like, nah, they right back on my bad list, or I'm myself right back on my bad list.
That like forgiveness can also contain with it a need for like boundaries, you know. Forgiving somebody doesn't mean you give them access necessarily to cause harm again, to continue to cause harm. So yeah, it's such a unique thing, and I think this movie gave me an opportunity to think more deeply about what forgiveness actually means, and I hope it does the same for audiences who see it.
Wow, that's deep. Forgiveness can be a difficult thing to address, so we brought in author and relationship therapist Love McPherson to talk about it. Hello, Love.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. It's always good to be here.
Same to have you. I love it. Forgiveness is a hell of a thing.
Oh, it is. But it is so powerful. And I love, you know, people talk about boundaries, and he just mentioned you have to put boundaries and things. But actually, forgiveness is one of the most powerful boundaries that you can place. And a lot of times people think forgiveness is a move that's kind of weak, but actually it is so powerful.
But why do you have to forgive?
Well, you know what? Because the boundary is you are forgiving and placing a boundary not between you and the person, but from the injustice that they presented to you, you literally separate yourself from it. So, you know, a lot of times people say, forgive and forget.
Right.
Okay. Actually, your mind may remember it's forgive and release. You release, you say, do you release the person? You release what that person represents. You release the emotions that they puppet master you. So literally, forgiveness, you say, why do you forgive? You forgive to cut the puppet master strings.
Who hurts the most if you don't forgive? You or the person that you have to forgive?
Certainly you.
Really?
You do. You hurt the most when you don't forgive. The reason is because you are always connected to the emotion and the
You're holding
injustice.
on to
You
it.
hold it. It is, not only do you hold it, it literally puppet masters you because
Yeah.
it gets to tell you, feel shame,
Yeah.
feel fear, feel angry, you know, feel violent, feel vengeful. And you say, you know what, that's not who I want to
Right,
be.
right.
And so you cut the strings and you are free and you experience freedom.
And it also manifests in certain ways, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah.
It can manifest physically. It can affect your heart. And you know what? Studies have shown that people who do not forgive, they actually have a shorter lifespan. So if you allow somebody to do injustice to you and then you continue to allow injustice to happen to you, you can't control them entering into and being connected to whatever they did. However, you can control being disconnected from it. And that's what forgiveness is. It is disconnecting you from the injustice or the betrayal or the shame somebody caused you.
So how do you forgive?
The first thing, that's a really good question. The first thing that you have to do is you have to assess the damage. You've got to know exactly what you're forgiving because, you know, if somebody hurts my daughter, I can't say, I'm forgiving you for hurting my daughter. No, what I'm forgiving you for is the pain it caused me for you hurting my daughter. What did that do to me? Did that make me feel like less of a mother, that I wasn't able to protect her? So we assess the damages and then we make a decision. You make a declaration. I forgive. However, it's not an emotional decision. It's not emotions that has to surface for you to do it because you won't feel it. You make a declaration. That's the event. But forgiveness is a process. And every day you decide again, you decide afresh that I have forgiven. Your integrity rides that decision. Your self-discipline, your determination to be free. All of that is in the process and you wait for your emotions to catch up.
So rather than forgiving being a weakness, it's strength.
It is an absolute strength. It is a power move. Forgiveness is a power move.
But that doesn't mean you have to be with that person, like they said. You can forgive, you feel better, you let go, and then you move on.
You know what? We're required to have unconditional love, not unconditional relationship.
Oh, I like that. That's very nice. And we should say that forgiveness comes in so many different ways with so many different things. I mean, what about someone who shot your daughter or someone who shot your son or raped or something like that? You feel like you need to forgive them?
I feel like I need to release them. I need to release the pain because if every time I see that person, every time I have that experience,
You're gonna feel,
I
ugh.
have to relive the death.
Yeah.
I have to relive whatever I saw in the morgue. I have to relive that. And I don't want that. I don't even want them to only be memorized, the memory of them to be that. And I don't want me to be memorized as the person who's is a victim of that person.
Can you do it on your own or do you need therapy?
It depends. You know, sometimes somebody, it used to be a friend who you heard talking bad about you, and that's the release. And it depends on how deeply that pain is. But sometimes you probably needed therapy before you even had the but sometimes it does require somebody to work through that process with you. So I would definitely encourage that too.
All right, Love, thank you. Always great to have you here.
Thank you.
You can find Love online at lovemcpherson.com. And you can see Exhibiting Forgiveness this weekend at the Chicago International Film Festival, where Andre Holland is being honored. And find more on the film and associated artwork at exhibitingforgiveness.com.